Okay, hi. It's me again. Today I want to talk a little bit about s.r.s. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know the greatest amount of information in the world, and most of which I do know is about Dr. s.r.s, because that's where my friends have gone. Is to his clinic. People always ask how much is the cost. Well, the cost is a hard thing to define, because you have to consider how much is the surgery going to cost, and to find that out you have to figure out how strong the dollar is in comparison to how strong the baht is. Also, it's not just your surgery you have to consider the cost for. What's the cost of the airline ticket? How much is it going to cost to be put up in a hotel? How much is the recovery time going to cost? All that is necessary to keep in mind. So if you did decide to go to Dr. s.r.s, the first thing he would ask you is, of course, for the doctor's notes, because you need notes verifying that you are eligible for this, which is the way it is with any s.r.s surgeon. Another interesting thing is he'll ask you which one's the most important to you, depth, the sensation, or appearance. And depending on your answer, he will focus more on trying to give you what you want. He'll still focus on the other ones too, but if you're interested on appearance, he will put more tissue to pad it out and do that. If you're more interested in depth, he will focus more tissue and that. If you're more interested in stimulation, he will make sure you have a Rolls-Royce clitoris. Also, don't eat anything before the surgery. Because you're going to get an enema. Just to let you know. They're going to shave you before the surgery. And they're going to put all this medical antibacterial stuff, kind of yellowish in color, all over. Dr. s.r.s recovery time varies from 3 months to 6 months, so it does take a while. You can also get both the whole thing done in one surgery. I know some surgeons require 2 separate surgeries for the hood and the vaginal cavity. Also, I know some surgeons, Marcy Bowers, which I'm not knocking, but I know that before you get your surgery, before she'll allow you to have your surgery, you have to get your hairs removed from your scrotal tissue by either laser or electrology or whatever. So that's another thing to bear in mind if you decide to go with Marcy Bauer, is that cost and pain and suffering, because that doesn't sound that fun to me. Another thing, this is for surgeries in general. I know Dr. s.r.s, he uses the scrotal tissue to mainly make the vaginal cavity, and he will actually not require you to get the hairs removed, but after you get knocked out and everything, he will remove the scrotal tissue, and then they'll take a fine knife and carve out all the follicles. This is so awkward. I guess if you don't use it, you lose it. But one of the girls I do know, she told me that she had a, that was her, quite literally, when she described her penile tissue, it was that. She had a very, very tiny thing. And she has a depth of about 5 to 6 inches now. But that brings up another topic. If you don't use it, you lose it. Which means if you don't masturbate on a fairly regular basis, at least enough to get some blood flow down there, it will eventually start to atrophy. I know most of you girls are going, but, ew, who wants to touch that? Ew, but it's so, ew. I don't know what you're talking about there. But I'm just saying, the more material the doctors have to work with, the more they can do. So that's something to bear in mind. I know with Dr. Zaporn, when you did his services, when you get to the Thailand airport, there will actually be someone there to pick you up and take you directly to the hotel. The hotel they put you in has a kind of a breakfast buffet, which is, and your hotel stay is already included in the price of your surgery. Excuse me. So that's something to keep in mind. Marcy Bowers, since I didn't mention her, she is in Trinidad, and she actually is transgendered herself. So I'm sure that adds a level of care and understanding that is very nice for the girls that need someone to comfort them and to understand them. Dr. Zaporn is not transgender, but he does seem to be understanding. I don't think I have too much more. I mean, there's a lot of information to cover. I just can't think of what I did cover and what I haven't. Yeah, I guess from what I heard with Marcy Bowers, after your surgery, you can go on a motorcycle 2 weeks afterwards and be fully sensate and practically healed. It seems a little hard for me to believe, but I'll take their word for it from what I've heard. So, I guess that's all I really have. This is Ariana Linfail saying thank you. And if anyone feels that I am wrong in any way, shape, or form, or that I'm misrepresenting the information, by all means, let me know. Write me. If necessary, I could always delete the video and do it all over again.